Hi and welcome to Magoo's Corner. I'm your host Trevor Gregg and we're coming to you from the Portland Hotel here on Commercial Road in Port Adelaide, and thanks to our sponsors and the producer. And as I said last week, make sure you have your committee members get in touch with the producer to have the games called live from your club. So as I said, it could be a game of significance, could be a milestone, could be Ladies' Day, Heritage Day, whatever it may be. It might not even have to be anything. You can just have us come to the Oval, call the game live, you have interviews at half-time and so on. It's a bloody good idea, and there are a lot of clubs on board, especially in the country leagues and here locally, of course. So again, make sure that you get in touch with the producer and book in a weekend. It's a terrific idea. So let's have a look at the results for round 3 of Division 5 reserves, and of course it's something that I'm a part of this year. And looking at the first game for the round, which was Elizabeth hosting Hectorville at Garner Park, and the visitors at Hectorville 10-14 74 to Elizabeth 9-7 61. Bit of an odd weekend, so there was quite a few games where it was a little bit inaccurate in front of the big sticks. The wind changed around quite heavily on the weekend, so it was probably a little bit unmanageable for some of the sides. So let's have a look at the goal scorers for Elizabeth. It was McCafferty and Mosley Clark with 2 each. Shaw, Tully and Ramsell, and the best players were McIver, Hollenby, Stubbings, Reichelt and Mitchell. And for Hectorville, Spizzo, the Spazzo with 3, Bottrell with 2, Alexander with a couple, and Dunn also with 2, and Malo with 1. And the best players were Zapier, Wooten, Butters, Spizzo and Ritchie. Were the best players for Hectorville. So that's a nice result, travelling out to Elizabeth and getting the job done there. The next game was one that obviously got to have a really good look at, and this was Rosewater, my club, hosting Greenacres, of course at Eric Sutton. 14-8 92 Rosewater to Greenacres 7-3 45. It was one where Greenacres actually, hit the scoreboard quite well. We responded, and just having a look through, and it was a weekend of injuries right across the board in a lot of the divisions, which I will touch on shortly. So the goal scorers, so Hadnam had with 4 extremely good talent up forward, could push for higher selection, but is quite happy to be where he is. He's a very, very smart footballer up forward. Birchie with 3, another one. Lennon with 2, Scotty Bouchin, Jaden Newchurch, Jamie Ellis, the coach. I think he's 59 years old. No, he's not. He's the coach. He turned him inside out. Was very, very good. Brought himself on and has kicked a couple of goals and set up a few actually. And Tommy Petrozelli, very, very fast little bloke from on the wings. And the best players were Newchurch, Burns, Clements, Hadnam and Shorey in the ruck. And for Greenacres, Dixon, our mate Cummy kicked 2. McAdam with 2, and the Wombat, the big fat hairy nosed Wombat, he got 1. Wombat, Redding, Shunky and Daniel were the better players, and a big shout out to Coops. Had a horrific injury on the weekend where he'd actually had, I think it was a broken cheekbone, broken eye socket, and had a bone ripped away from his eye socket also. 25, otherwise saying that there was a lot of conjecture about how it happened and where it went down, but he was knocked out, stitches and cuts to the face. So I hope you recover well, mate, and get back on the track as soon as you can. Yeah, very, very bad injury. So it was good work by our lads after having a very, very dismal effort last week. So they were the poor power of Amateur League last week. They were just smoked to no end, but they responded. They were killed on the track during the week, and as I said, they responded extremely well, so that's good to see. Next game, which was Pulteney and hosting at Morgan Oval to CBC, 9-10 64, Pulteney to CBC, 7 goals 15-57, so an opportunity gone there for CBC. Miller with 2, Pryor, Cox, Nicholson, White, Johansson, Portis and Gleeson were the goal scorers, and best players were Holmes, Kikianis, Knight, Plunkett and Andrew Walther. For CBC, Big Ben Primus with 3, Sarunik, D'Angelo and Johansson with 1, Gabrielli, Storti, D'Angelo, Johansson and Sarunik were the best players there for the Dolphins. Blackfriars hosted Glenunga at St Dominic's Oval, 10-11-71 to Glenunga's 4-4-28. Sanford with 3, Wood, Mirando, Manchef, Pocaro, Harrison, Curtis and Gridley. Some of those names there, obviously Pocaro, Manchef, Sanford were names that we were reading regularly from last year. Curtis, Haynes, Christian, Darrow, Harris and Mirando were the best players there for the Hounds. Prentice, Walsh, Chandler, Alexander were the goal kickers for Glenunga. Wells, McKensis, Prentice and Selway. Now I'm sure you would have made note of the magazine from last week which highlighted the the new building out there at Glenunga. It looks unbelievable. It's a fantastic facility, much like our own at Rosewater, Eric Sutton. So it'll be very interesting to see what that's like when we head out there later on in the year. But it looks like it's a fantastic place to be in and watch footy. So we'll see how that goes later on. Smithfield hosted Lockleys out at Smithfield Oval and it was 13-9-87 to Lockleys 10-14-74. So another one where an opportunity may have been missed. Smithfield Nisbet with 4, that was R Nisbet, and D Nisbet with 3, Moss with Schwerst with 2 each, Partridge and Bandassi. And best players were Partridge, Nisbet, Cullinan, Coulson and Partridge. And for the Demons it was Stevenson with 3, Malcolm with 2, Darn with a couple, Christie, Krieg and Smith. Crowell, Duca, Krieg, Stevenson and Stock were the better players there for Lockley. So a couple of familiar names there from last year. So let's have a look at the round 4 preview. CBC hosts Smithfield at Audi Arena at Thebarton. I've just got no idea. Or is the oval down the road going to be called Coles Circuit? Is it going to be Woolworths? Whatever. I'm not. I don't know about this selling out your oval name. It's always been Thebarton, always will be for me, the same as Amy Stadium and Footy Park. Hectorville host our boys Rosewater out at Daly Oval. For me, I'll go back to my tips, that'll probably help. CBC with Smithfield, I think Smithfield will get that one done. Hectorville and Rosewater, I will be biased there, and so that after the shellacking that they got during the week of training last week and the result that they pulled out, that they will get the job done as the visitor out there at Daly Oval. So Rosewater for me. Greenacres and Pulteney, after seeing what I saw again, same as round 1 last year, Pulteney will get that one done easily for me. Lockleys and Blackfriars, I would probably say this would be quite a good match at Lockleys Oval. Lockleys for me. Glenunga and Elizabeth at Webb Oval. I think Glenunga, where they are at the moment, it's been commonly put out there with what Leesy's doing with that club. They're not worried about winning premierships right now. They're worried about promoting the youth and promoting their brand of football that Brian Lees would like him. And this is a gentleman that was told that he was too far beyond football to coach an A-grade side again. I think that was a ridiculous statement, and I think he's going to do wonderful things out there at Glenunga. So for me, Elizabeth to get the job done at Webb Oval, but Glenunga, they're going to be on the up and up over the next couple of years with what we're promoting the youth, getting some games into them, and then recruiting those more senior and more experienced players in just to top that off. So watch out for Glenunga over the next few years. So as I said, make sure you subscribe to the SA Footballer magazine. You've been watching SA Footballer TV. Thanks very much for your time. We'll catch you again next week.